Hello everyone, welcome to Such Watches. Today I want to talk about Citizen. This is the Citizen Tsuyosa. This was released in 2023, last year, and basically when it was released, this became an insane hit. This has a Citizen automatic movement in it, a sapphire crystal, a Cyclops date window. The case is exceptionally well done. The bracelet is also amazing. So basically for $300 these days, this watch is an amazing value. This looks good. This basically rivals the Tissot PRX for basically half the cost. So basically this year in 2024, Citizen released another watch that even surpasses this watch. This contains the Citizen Zenshin, or the Forza Mechanical in the United States. So basically this is a fully super titanium watch from Citizen. This has a Citizen automatic movement in it. Basically all the specifications of the Tsuyosa are basically matched or surpassed by the Citizen Zenshin. This costs around $625 in the United States, but this can be had for less in Europe or Japan, I think. Basically I got mine from Spain for $400, and the color variations are, I think, white, green, light blue, blue, and the salmon dial. For some unknown reasons, Citizen in the United States, at least the website of Citizen in the United States, only has 3 colors. I think white, light blue, and blue, they show up at $625 each. So I really wanted a salmon dial, so I got mine from Europe because the salmon dial was not available in the United States. Also, I have well over basically 100 watches in my collection, and I think I can count about 3 or maybe 4 watches excluding this one that are made entirely of titanium. So I'm really excited to see if this Citizen Zenshin, how it holds up basically. So let's just get started with the unboxing. Okay, so let's get started with the unboxing. This is the box the watch comes in. I got mine from the Spain region, I think. I had to import it from Spain because the United States Citizen website did not have the salmon dial listed. So I really wanted the salmon dial. And inside this we have a smaller box, and I think you just pull this. And here's the watch. The packaging of this Forza Mechanical watch is okay. It does the job, I guess. But there's another Citizen watch called the Pro Master Fugu, I think, that has a really awesome packaging. I really want to show a quick example of that. So this is the box the Pro Master Fugu comes in. The unboxing experience of this watch is really interesting. The Pro Master Fugu is a diver style watch, so Citizen has this oxygen tank that contains the actual watch in it, and after you open it, it reveals the Pro Master Fugu. Anyway, I guess the packaging isn't really that important. After all, the watch is the main thing. But I really like when companies do interesting stuff like the Pro Master Fugu. Let's take a quick look at this watch. The one thing I immediately notice when I pick up this watch is it's actually really light. this is the model number, NJ0180-80Z. So let me try setting the time. And this is the second hand in action. I have to say the dial is really good. So let me get my Tsuyosa. I have the Tsuyosa in yellow dial. Well, the main difference is the small hand on the newer titanium model. They actually do look similar, but the Tsuyosa does weigh, I can feel it, it does weigh a bit more. And the bracelet is actually different on the newer one. The main striking feature of the newer one is the dial. One more difference with the Tsuyosa is that the Tsuyosa's crown is at 4 o'clock position and this one has it at 3 o'clock. The crown itself is a push-pull, it's not a screw down, but I guess that's okay because this watch has 100 meter of water resistance and this one has 50. So Citizen basically doubled the water resistance from the Tsuyosa to the Forza Mechanical. So let's find out the weight of each watch. This is with full links. So the Tsuyosa weighs around 138 grams. And this one should be lighter. Yes, it's about 38 grams lighter. Now let's check out the bracelet. Let me first remove this. The bracelet is actually pretty well finished. It matches the case. It's a brushed finish, I think. Let me try it on my wrist really quickly. Let's start with the basic specifications for this watch. The model number is NJ0180-80Z and the dial color is salmon. The case size is 40.5 millimeters and it utilizes a sapphire crystal, which is the best option for resisting scratches and is pretty much the standard on all high quality watches. The case and bracelet are both made of Citizen Super Titanium, which is supposed to be 5 times more scratch resistance and 40% lighter than stainless steel. The watch is powered by Citizen's 8213 movement and the watch has a water resistance of 100 meters, which should be more than good enough for swimming, but it's not recommended for diving. The official price of this watch is listed at $625 in the US, but I managed to get this watch for $400, which is pretty much the average market price at this time. This absolutely amazing dial features a small second hand in between 4 and 5 o'clock position. Similar to the Tsuyosa, the Zenshin aka the Forza Mechanical has indices that appear to be applied rather than painted, which adds to creating detail on the dial. There is also a date indicator at 3 o'clock position, but unfortunately there is no day indicator. Also, this watch doesn't use the Cyclops lens for the date, which the Tsuyosa used. Personally, I think Citizen made the right move as the Cyclops lens would have distracted from the design of the dial. The basic square cutout for the date works exceedingly well to keep most of the focus where it should belong, on the striking dial. The exact movement powering this watch is Citizen's own 8213-218 automatic movement with about 40 hours of power reserve. The 8213 caliber contains 21 joules and is rated at an accuracy of plus or minus 20 seconds per day. This movement beats at 21,600 vibrations per hour. In other words, the second hand moves at 6 ticks per second. Although there were some 8000 caliber movements that did not support hacking, this 8213 caliber does support both hand winding and hacking. As you can see, the second hand stops when the crown is pulled to set the time, so this movement does indeed hack. The size of the case is 40.5 millimeters wide and the case thickness is 11 millimeters. There is a push-pull crown at 3 o'clock position, and this is one area where I think Citizen could have improved the watch by giving it a screw-down crown. Though I suppose this watch isn't really meant for diving, so this is just a minor concern. At the back of this watch, there is an exhibition case, so you could see the movement powering this watch in action. Both the case and bracelet are made of super titanium. The bracelet is also well finished and features a fold-over clasp with push buttons. The entire weight of this watch with none of the links removed for size adjustment is just under 100 grams. So after removing some links for adjusting for size, it should be well under 100 grams. Let's take a look at this dial closer. This level of quality in the textured dial makes this watch much more premium looking than the Tsuyosa. As we zoom in even further, we can see how each different pattern adds to making this watch much more detailed. The sub dial for the second hand is also exceptionally done well. The lume for this watch is applied to the hour and minute hand as well as the indices. The quality of lume is decent but not amazing. Let's quickly compare the Forza Mechanical with the Tsuyosa. The major difference is the small second hand on the Forza Mechanical. The Tsuyosa also uses a Cyclops lens for the date window while the Forza does not. Both watches use sapphire crystal, which is an excellent choice. Looking at the watches from crown side view, we can see that the crown on Forza Mechanical has a much larger presence, while the crown on the Tsuyosa has a much more sleeker presence, almost invisible. The bracelet style is also very different on these watches. The Tsuyosa uses stainless steel material with brushed finishing on the sides, but the center is polished. The Forza Mechanical uses super titanium material with satin finish style with no center polish that makes it much more uniform. The finishing on both the bracelets is excellent, and it honestly depends on your taste whether you prefer one over the other. One major disadvantage for the Tsuyosa is its water resistance. The water resistance is just 50 meters for the Tsuyosa, while the Forza Mechanical doubles it at 100 meters. There is also an ever slight difference in case sizes. The Tsuyosa has a 40mm wide case, while the Forza Mechanical has a 40.5mm wide case. The Tsuyosa is also slightly slimmer at 9.1mm versus the 11mm for the Forza Mechanical. Now let's compare the lume on both the watches. The Forza Mechanical has a bluish lume, while the Tsuyosa has a green one. The lume is one area where the Tsuyosa has an advantage over the Forza Mechanical. As you can see, the lume appears to be much more vibrant on the Tsuyosa. Speaking of lumes, I want to show you an interesting watch in my collection. I want to preface the rating section of this review by saying that I am by no means an expert. You can think of me as someone who is really fond of watches, but overall, I'm just a regular guy. I just thought it would be fun to add a rating section in this video, even though it would be extremely subjective. Anyway, with that said, let's start with brand. One component of brand is its recognition. Whether normal people, not just watch lovers, know the brand as well. In Citizen's case, it is one of the widely recognized brands in the world. Next is brand perception. Just because a brand is well known does not mean that it is well received. For Citizen, most people, including watch enthusiasts, view this brand positively. Finally, is the brand known for watchmaking. Whenever you think of Citizen, you think of watches. Not just any watches as well. Citizen is a well-reputed brand that is known for making good, high-quality watches. The overall brand rating for Citizen is an A. Next, let's take a look at the watch aesthetics. For me, the dial is the most important part of watch aesthetics. The dial makes or breaks a watch's looks, and I have to admit, appreciating different dial looks is probably the reason why I like collecting watches. The dial of this watch is probably the most important reason why I even got this watch. The visuals of this dial can be compared to something like a Grand Seiko, and it is extremely rare to find such a dial under $1,000. The dial gets an A+. This Forza Mechanical watch uses a sapphire crystal, which is much better than a mineral crystal for resisting scratches, so it gets an A. Citizen movements have a good reputation for quality and durability. The Zenshin uses a Citizen 8213 automatic movement with hacking and hand winding features and 40 hours of power reserve. Although this movement is good, there are many other movements that offer much better specifications, such as more power reserve, better accuracy, more vibrations per hour, which leads to a more smoother sweep. For example, Tissot's Powermatic 80 doubles the power reserve of this movement to 80 hours of power reserve. Anyway, the 8213 movement is more than fine at this price range. The movement gets a B. The Forza Mechanical uses super titanium entirely for the watch. Titanium is much more expensive, more lighter, more harder to work with than stainless steel. Titanium watches are also rare, especially ones with automatic movements. I have over 100 watches in my collection, and I think only 3 other watches are made from titanium. So the material rating of this watch is S tier. The case and bracelet finishing is important too, as it adds to the overall looks as well. This 40.5mm case looks good overall and goes well with the dial to present a high quality look. The case is accented by polished finishing on small sections surrounding the dial, while the rest of the case appears to be brushed. The inclusion of the exhibition case back improves the aesthetics as well. The case also uses an extremely high quality material, Citizen Super Titanium. The case gets an A. The bracelet is also made of super titanium and it looks extremely good. It is an integrated bracelet with mostly brushed finishing with really small polished finishing at the bottom of links. The clasp also looks good and matches the overall bracelet. The only downside is the lack of adequate micro adjustment options on the clasp, though this is a really minor issue for me. The bracelet gets an A as well. The watch overall looks extremely good. The satin brushed finishing on the case and bracelet work well together to highlight the gorgeous dial. Even if the case and bracelet were not up to par, the dial alone would make sure this watch gets a high rating. The overall looks is an A. Although there are many other watches with a much higher water resistance rating of say 300 meters, 100 meters of water resistance I think is more than good enough for a non-dive watch. The water resistance gets a B+. Now let's talk about the lume of this watch. Although the Tsuyosa was slightly better, the lume of this watch is good enough to tell the time accurately at night. The lume rating for this watch is a B. Price is probably a major factor in saying whether a watch is worth it or not. In order for my final such rating, I'm going to take a look at price versus the rating in above categories. For the MSRP of $625, there aren't really any other watches using titanium and offering automatic movements with this level of dial detail. My final such rating for this watch at MSRP of $625 is an A. There is one more such rating I need to give that is much more representative of the market price. The value presented by this Forza Mechanical is insane, since the market price is just $400 at this time. For $400, you get a watch made of super titanium, automatic movement, good finishing, sapphire crystal, and the dial that rivals watches that cost in the thousands. My final such rating at the market price of $400 is S tier. This is how the watch looks outside. The quality of the dial reflecting in the sunlight is just amazing. So there you have it, the Citizen Zenshin. This watch surpassed all my expectations, especially the dial. The dial is simply amazing. The salmon dial, whether you want the salmon dial, the green dial, the white dial, the light blue, I think all of the Zenshin dials are simply amazing. This watch also has an amazing value, but this is a stainless steel one, and just for $100 more, or maybe $150, this one can be had with the titanium material. And as I said before, the titanium is pretty rare in watches. So basically, this watch represents an amazing value. So for my recommendation, I would have to say, if you're fine with the color variations of this Zenshin, that is the salmon, white, green, light blue, then absolutely go for this. This is an amazing value. This represents an S tier value. I don't think any other watch can match the value provided by the Zenshin at less than $500. Even at $625 in the United States, it still represents a pretty good value. But if you are able to get this for around $400 like I did, then absolutely this is a no-brainer watch. And even in 2024, the Citizen Tsuyosa is actually a pretty good value as well. These days, this can be had for less than $300, and Citizen released a multitude of color variation these days. I mean, in 2024, along with the yellow, they have a lot more color variations that was not available last year. So if you want Citizen Tsuyosa mainly because of the Cyclops dial maybe, or the color variations are not available in the Zenshin, then check out the Tsuyosa's color, because this one, the Tsuyosa is still an amazing value. But I think this Zenshin is just a no-brainer. This watch is absolutely exceptional in every way, and just get this watch if you have $500 to spend and you don't have a Zenshin already. So that was the Citizen Zenshin. Bye for now.